Hear the train? This is the tourist train. It took him, I think, 3 months to drill 69.5 feet. This is the first time that an oil well was drilled. And look at the dirt here. Here it is, right here. Looks pretty humble, doesn't it? The oil ran out and dripped into the barrel. And history was changed right here. Global history. It's a telegraph office. What's in that jar there, huh? I don't think it's oil. I think it's white lightning. The Canadotha chapter of the Daughters of the American Revolution put up this memorial placard in stone to commemorate the Drake oil well, which had at this point, 1914, had almost disappeared. It had no longer produced any oil, and it was just bits and pieces of a shack. This is a replica of the oil well. By 1896, Drake was gone. Only a piece of casing pipe marked the famous well. In 1914, they put up the monument. In 1934, the Petroleum Institute built a brick museum and gave it to the Commonwealth of Pennsylvania. 1945, the monument was moved and a replica of Drake's engine house was constructed over the well site. 1986, a working reproduction of Drake's boiler and steam engine was added to the replica. I thought it looked awful nice and shiny. It rained very early this morning, but now it's cleared up. 3rd of October. Look at the width of that board there. That came from a big tree. This is the oil transportation building. Let's go check it out. Is it open? Why, yes it is. This is a 1927 GMC Big Brute truck. Wow, look, it's got solid rubber tires on it. And that would be a kind of a brutal ride there too, huh? Flathead engine. And look at all of this drilling, rigging on the back. And this must be a wagon oil tank. Look, even the back wheels are solid rubber. There's something in it. Lots of gears and places to get your fingers smashed in. Look at this old building, it's pretty neat. Let's see what the Big Brute sounds like.
Got this cyclone rig in 1922 and traveled all over drilling wells and shot holes for coal stripping. Old Cyclone's been through a lot. Nitro got into a well casing once and blew the tools clear out of the well. Smashed the Cyclone to blazes. In those days, electric welding was just coming into the oil fields, but we found a welder who got things put back together and went right on drilling. Been drilling for more than 40 years. Kept on till I retired in 1957. Couldn't start that engine with my bad leg. Of course, I kept on pumping my own wells, even then.
Here is the GMC. And over here, the Otto Torpedo Company operated a 1947 Dodge Power Wagon. The sure-footed Dodge Power Wagon used by the military was ideal for carrying dangerous nitroglycerin to the oil fields. The truck's four-wheel drive transmission easily conquered mud and rugged terrain. Nitro rode to the fields in thickly padded rear compartment. There, shooters with nerves of steel lowered nitro-filled torpedoes into wells. The explosion fractured the underground sandstone and increased oil production. I wouldn't want that job. I don't think you could have paid me enough for that. This is a neat old four-wheel drive rig, huh?
I didn't know Augie Bond very well. You know, that shooter from the torpedo company? He got blown up carrying 6 quarts of nitro in his Dodge truck. After work, me and Joe went over to see the hole in the road. It was 2 foot deep and 4 foot wide. They found part of the engine block, but you wouldn't have known what he was driving. It was that, smashed up. Poor man got himself blown at him and scattered 400 yards in every direction. Never did figure out what happened.
Well, I'm gonna pour the last of the nitro in for this shoot. Gotta be careful. I don't want to end up like Augie Bond, you know. Uh-oh. That doesn't look good.
Holy mackerel. What happened to him? This is a Sanderson Cyclone drilling rig, 1917. Making hole. Okay. Here we have a 1937 Cletrac crawler tractor. Through a sea of mud, look at her swim. That's a pretty small one, too. Oh, crank it up. 6-cylinder 30 horsepower engine.
My dad drove a big pig tractor than this in the CCC in the 1930s. Sure was hard to get used to steering the thing. You steered by putting brakes on the side you wanted to turn. Awkward son of a gun. Could pull rods fast though. Best anything I ever pulled with. And that was all right on top, you know, so you didn't have to mess around with it. And you could just go from well to well. You could haul stuff, grade roads, dig foundation, house snow too. Yeah, that pig tractor did a pretty good job as far as that goes.
This is a 1880 tank wagon from horses to horsepower. Standard Oil Company. Horses haul wagon loads of oil barrels over mud slick roads for shipment to Pittsburgh refineries. By 1875, horse-drawn metal tank wagons delivered kerosene to general stores and homes. In the late 1920s, trucks powered with gasoline refined from oil began to take over the routes. Oh, look at those kerosene cans there. They're sort of like milk cans. I guess you would just get a whole can, huh? The kerosene man cometh. What does that fit on? A truck bed? Fordson tractor, 1924, with a Myers winch. Tractors in the oil fields. This 1924 Fordson pulled leaking tubing out of oil wells and gas wells. Look at those iron tires on it. The light frame and powerful engine created unexpected happening when the rear end loads caused the front end to flip up and back over the driver. Oh my God, that would be terrible. Meanwhile, at the mystery rig here, there's no sign, but look at the tires, the wheels on it rather. Wooden spoke with metal rims, and huge. And look at that big wheel right there. Now the front part has got rubber tires on it. In 1934, Ford V8 with a tank. As tough as the workers who drove them. Oilfield trucks had to be strong and versatile. Trucks like this V8 Ford fitted with detachable tanks to haul liquid petroleum. Oilmen removed the tanks when they were needed. When they needed the trucks to carry pipe and oil fittings. Price to save you money. How much are they? $500. $500 would buy you that. Without the tank, of course. Sort of a boneyard of well drilling equipment. And let's go to number 8, which is the standard steel drilling rig. They started using steel rigs because the wooden ones couldn't be built high enough. The purpose of the rig is to stabilize the pipe so they are drilling straight down in a straight line. Clearing up and warming up. Look, there's one of those tanks across the lagoon there. It'll pump out of the ground fill the tank. And look at these cable systems. Would connect to pumps that would put the oil up. Like this one right here. See? This cable here goes all the way across to that pump over there where that tank is. So they came from a central location, which would be right over here where I was just pointing at. So this central location did operate via cables, lots of pumps. And we answer the question, why were steel derricks used in standard drilling rigs? Wooden drilling rigs with interchangeable parts were standard in Pennsylvania oil industry of 1870, but deeper wells required larger, stronger derricks. Structural steel derricks were first advertised in 1892. Fireproof steel rigs were easily erected and considered semi-portable because they could be disassembled and moved. Steel rigs were common until World War II, when drilling equipment mounted on trucks replaced them. Okay, what have we here? There's an old steam boiler that's portable. It's got wheels on it. And so what did it? Oh, it operated the pump. Yeah, look at that. The standard drilling rig crew. Most crews were 4 men who worked 12-hour shifts: driller, tool dresser, a roughneck, and a roustabout. Very colorful names, huh? Roughnecks and roustabouts were experienced workers who erected rigs, made repairs, greased equipment, tended boilers, and helped with the rigging. Okay. Are you a roustabout or a roughneck? Let me see your neck. Look at this. There's a chain. There's a big, huge belt on that one. Look how big the wheel is. Holy mackerel, and look at this chain here. And that's a big one too. And there's the drilling rig right there. There's the hole. What makes a rig? Gin pole, bull wheel, calf wheel, sand reel. These are quite complicated. Wells are cased. Fishing is the name given to recovering bits. Look at these big ropes. Man, there's a lot of complicated stuff with this, isn't it? The tool dresser. The toolie. Tool dresser was an expert blacksmith. He used his skills to repair broken tools, sharpen, dress, and retemper the drill bit in the coal-fired forge located in the back corner. Coal-fired forge. Is that it right there? And look at this big old heavy steel clamp, I guess it is. Here's the driller. Are you the driller? Yes, I am. Look at this pulley system right here. The driller, sometimes called the tool pusher, kept his hand on the tamper screw. Where is the tamper screw at? And knew by feel what type of material was being pounded by the bit. Different types of rock would dull the drill and bit edge more quickly. The driller knew when to sharpen the bit and bail out the hole. He supervised roustabouts and roughnecks when they used his circle jack to wrench apart the string of tools. Is this the circle jack here? Heavy, heavy stuff. The driller was paid for each foot drill, ranging from $2 a foot to $4 and $5 later. Look at this is a cable reels. And let's look up at the very top of the rig. Oh, look at all those pulleys and cables up there. And back down to the earth. Can you imagine the noise all this stuff made? Those guys, not only did they probably lose fingers, they probably lost their hearing too. Now for a break from the equipment gawking, a little bit back to nature. It's a nice park. So quiet. This is a Sunday morning. I suppose they have groups of people coming here, maybe school kids, and they have a picnic. Okay, here's an outside view of the standard steel rig. And look at this. This is, well, I don't know what it is. A pump, maybe? They use natural gas to operate the pumps. That guy, the Scottish guy, invented them. So this is a well that's been drilled, and this is the pump right here. And there's the tank. So this cable connects back to the central power building, it's called. And those cables would operate these pumps. A bunch of them at one time. There's a railroad bed right there. Top of the bank, and then the oil creek is just beyond that. Look at these standard tanks. Don't know how many gallons are in there. Look at these big old sycamore trees. Okay, we have a plethora of different pumps. So let's investigate them. This is like a little baby one here. These always look like animals pecking. Okay, we have the Hawley pumping jack. Hawley pumping jack. And here we have the electric pumping jack. Had power to it. And here we have the Hawley straight lift rod line jack. Did you get all that? Well, pumping jack with the Eclipse engine. It looks like some dinosaur critter. American Railroad Appliance Pumping Jack, or railway appliance. Between 1890 and 1940, most oil wells were pumped by central powers. Deep wells and isolated wells were pumped by individual gas engines at each jack. Around 1917, the American Railway Appliance Company of Oil City made this type of geared pumping jack powered by an air-cooled gas engine. Isn't that cute? So there's the railroad bed going down there. I guess many a load of oil went down that line. 10 buildings. So when oil was first drilled and discovered, wood was the primary structural material. And then later on it became steel. 10. The Central Power Exhibit. Look for these parts. Each engine had a barker that made a unique sound. By listening to the barker, an oil lease tender could tell which engines were working. Well, I suppose you can't get in this exhibition room, but the lights are on, and I haven't heard any dogs barking. So here's one of those cables that runs out to a well and pump and tank. It's nice and peaceful and quiet and well landscaped and natural. Can you imagine the mess that it was during the oil boom? All the trees were cut down. There was mud everywhere, and the sound of machinery clackering all the time. Small tank, big tank. OP pipeline station, number 1, 1881. So they developed pipelines to ship oil in, which was the most efficient and economical. And that's a predominant way of shipping oil now, and gasoline, petroleum products. 55,000 miles of pipeline in America. Steam engines began moving oil through pipelines in 1862, but by the 1890s, pumping stations operated natural gas engines instead. Silver Run Pump Station, part of Standard Oil's National Transit Pipeline, used a 10-horsepower Klein engine to push oil through pipelines to other stations or refineries. Both pump and engine were manufactured in Oil City. Let's walk up here and take a look at the creek. Here it is, Oil Creek. So this is a railroad bed here that I'm walking on, running right alongside Oil Creek. So originally I don't know if they shipped oil on this creek or not. I think they did. It would have to be barrels of oil on small boats. And here's another little derrick. I guess that's for plants to grow on. Well, there are not many places in the world where historical events happen that touch everyone's lives in the world, globally. But this is it right here. This is the place. The modern world began here. Maybe I'll sit down and ponder that a bit.